This is a video urging you to be careful when you walk on the street. Be aware of everything you see because these are some deranged folks that think that you are their main meal. So, what you have to do is be very careful. You're going to have to learn certain tactics to use that people haven't used before because you are the target here. You see, you may think that you're unappealing or unattractive to the ones who may take you in for trafficking and organ harvesting and carjacking and money stealing, including credit cards and all that. But it's not true. You can think that you're too old for them to just target, but you are the food. See, you are the one being preyed on. So but it's not fun when the rabbit has the gun, right? Well, you have to be the rabbit with the gun because they're aiming for you, okay? They're hunting for you and any resources that you can provide. So you have to be quick on your feet. You have to know certain tactics. You got to learn to be quick on your feet. You got to outsmart your enemy because that's what they are. So this story comes to you that this lady who was young and she ended up being abducted. So this is how it happened. She was walking along the street, had a dress on at night, and in no fault of her own, um, she was walking. She felt aware. She was kind of in fear. She walked around looking in back of her. It was a guy walking who was in back of her, and she kept looking back at him in fear that, that the worst may happen. It turns out that guy was an ordinary, everyday dude, and he thought to himself that he should just walk across the street because he's making this woman uncomfortable, which was commendable of him. Then, then what she feared the most did happen. Some other guy came up to her, approached her, asking for directions, and after she said what she said hesitantly as some directions, he started to come up to shake her hand. She thought that was very suspicious. So she was hesitant, and she did put her hand out, and he caught her hand and didn't let it go. So now what is she going to do? Well, he tried to drag her down the street with that one hand that he grabbed, and she tried to resist, but his strength was just too strong physically for her, and he dragged her all the way to the street to get her in a car. Well, she wasn't going through that lightly, so she fought back, and her first instinct was to throw her phone and her glasses through a car window. And how she did it? Well, he had a hammer in the car, so she decided to pull that and hit the window open. The guy who decided to cross the street so that she'll feel more comfortable, he saw what had happened and he called the police. Isn't that wonderful? So what happened next was he was able to take her on. When she hit the window, she thought she was free, but he pulled her back in the car because his strength is more than her because he's a man and she's a woman. So what happened was he abducted her, he assaulted her 50,000 times, keep putting her back in the trunk when he finished, and he would swap out license plates. He had several license plates that he stole off of other people. And so he's just swapped them out so that he won't get caught. He tried to take her ATM and tried at several banks to get money. Eventually, he took whatever money or whatever he found from these women's and teenagers and underage girls that he was able to go to the lot, take her information, and buy a car with it. Well, the car dealer wasn't, they were selling the car to him, but they knew something was suspicious. I mean, this dark character who comes into the dealership and just buys a car like that, something's wrong. So good thing they did this. They put a tracking device system on him. See, it's good to just like be suspicious of them. Be suspicious. Judge them. Make judgments on them because they're not right. So I said, what this bro doing with trying to get a brand new car? He can't get this on his own. He can't possibly get that on his own. Just use women to do it, right? So they put a tracking device inside the engine, and they were able to track the car down. Finally, they caught up with this guy. They arrested him, and at the time of his arrest, he had several cards, several driver's license plates. He had zip ties, bottles, duct tape, and all kinds of a matter of things. They also found, when they looked at his record, that he K'd and R'd, meaning he sexually assaulted. I'm going to say out loud, he sexually assaulted, and he took the life of a 16-year-old girl. No one ever got justice for her. But when he got caught, then that came on the record. He had took a little girl's life. He'd been abducting women. He'd been collecting money from it. He benefited in everywhere from being a predator preying on these young girls and these women. And they were from the youngest underage girl to the oldest. So you must be aware. Get one step ahead of these criminals, because they're going to get one step ahead of you. This woman got taken, and she had a big family, and her family prayed for her safe return. But not only that, they reached out to the police and everybody else, the media too. And I'm so glad that she's back with her family. But the trauma hasn't went away. Every day she cries, and she thinks about how this dude that she didn't want in her space, who she was nice enough to give him instructions around and the location and everything, which she shouldn't even been involved in talking to him in the first place. It's not her fault. I'm just saying. You can't always walk around in fear. You have to be aware and prepared. Be aware and prepared, not scared. She was fearful, and I'm not saying that she's at fault for anything. I'm saying she walked out at night. She was out at night by herself with a dress, and I think that women should have a right to go out and walk around at that time and get off of work where they need to. But these men, they're out there, and so as long as they exist, women can't be safe doing that kind of thing. So she walked out there at night and was in fear. Still going out here putting herself out at night, but still in fear. When you fear, your worst nightmares that you fear could come upon you. So instead of being fearful, be prepared. Also, it'd be nice if they had a curfew, but people should be able to walk through freely with anybody messing with them. And in a perfect world, that should be apparent. But because you have predators and losers and rejects around who's just not going to take it anymore, and joining these manosphere and letting these bitter, disgusting dudes talk them right into a life of crime, they're out there. And so, just like when there's a baby on the way, but the man don't want it, but it's going to come whether they like it or not, right? Because they're the ones that impregnated the person. Well, whether we like it or not, there are predators preying on women, young women and girls, and even guys too. And so the women and girls have to be careful and look out for this. But don't run around scared with chicken with your head cut off, because then that could bring it to you. So you have to be prepared. You have to know the tactics that you must use when it comes up. You must know that those tactics are effective. You must have them in your arsenal. You must have it learned, pat down, and ready to go. Because those criminals are doing that. They're preparing to take you down. They're preparing to sex traffic you. They're preparing to K you. They're preparing to sexually assault you. They're preparing to put you in a life of prostitution that's against your will. They are prepared to do that. They have prepared and have all the tactics in their arsenal prepared to take you down. So why can't you have all the preparation to take them out? So let this story be a cautionary tale. She was able to live and survive because she put out some tactics that got her free. But that was only after it all happened. Because she had to go through the trauma of being assaulted. by a monster, right? And so I wouldn't be doing you any justice if I was to leave out the fact that you must be careful and that these things happen. They're putting bottles in the tires so that it make a big noise so you'll get out to see what happened and they'll abduct you. They're putting zip ties on your car on the other side where you can't see it. And I don't really know what that tactic is for, but when you see one, this is you being targeted by the prey. Take pictures of it. Get a police report. Do not hesitate to get police reports. You know, with somebody, knocked into my car, and I didn't know it was an old lady that actually, you know, she got hurt on my car running into it, but something fell off my car. So I was thinking somebody was messing with it. So I immediately walked down to go make a police report. And all they do is take down the information, everything, and what happened, everything, and you got it on record. So that when something else happens to you, then you could go to them and say, well, something else happened. This person is doing this. This is a pattern now. And you can really have a record against this invisible persons. So that's what you do when you see the zip tie or the bottle in your car. Just simply take some photos, write down what happened or what did you witness around the car, what happened, and then make a police report. Now, these policemen, yes, they are on the job looking for that. Because when you get your car ransacked and you do a police report, sometimes they'll take you and ride you around to different spots to where they have found somebody who was breaking into cars, and then they show you their faces. Is this them? No. Is this them? Yes. And you're hidden in the police cruiser. Like if you're the criminal, and you don't have to do anything but point them out, and they don't even see you. So make police reports. Chum up with your police department. Make them pies. See, as black women in the black society, always trying to make sure that the men are okay, but they never check the other men to see, what sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But you don't have a good relationship with the police because you always fight for the criminals to get out. See, so they're not really familiar with you. I mean, they are familiar with you, and maybe no matter what you do, they're still gonna have some type of bias towards you. But it's good to try. It's good to try. And it's not kissing no one's butt. It's that you're making it aware that the police are welcome in your neighborhoods. And don't hesitate to roll around the block and try to bust a few heads for your safety. That guy could be in there with zip ties and everything and the cellular license planning to do something else. So they need to be checked. They do need to be profiled. Why not? This is your safety. This is about you. You put away the extra footwork and being men for males that don't even like you, and make sure that you are destroyed. So why not prepare to butt against this by using your local authorities? Have a fresh start on them, because before, the relations that you had with them was Black Lives Matter and trying to fight them for some criminals. And this time, you can do it totally differently. Because right now, what they're doing is going, well, get out my face. You the one that chose to deal with that guy. And now that he's all up reaming your butt and stuff, now you want the cops to do something. You even press charges on him. And you want to change your mind. And just because he apologized when you know he's going to do it again. So that's the relationship y'all have with these cops. So what else you expect them to do when their hands are tied? You make them pay for that touching hand on their car and that goes upside your head. Then you don't press charges on them. What else are they supposed to do? Now you got their hands tied, so they can't do nothing for you. That's why they are always dismissive towards you. When you go missing, and then they're like, oh, well, last seen it with her boyfriend. Oh, boyfriend, okay, yeah. So it's just this. You need to build a new relationship with them, with the police. You need to start documenting things, taking pictures, dates, times, what somebody said, what somebody did, what did you do in response to what they said, what they did, when somebody messes with your property, or something's out of a line, something's out of right, and something's missing, or document that too. Okay? Um, Learn what tactics there are to use and put them in your arsenal. Keep prepared. Okay? Keep prepared. Practice also. Practice makes perfect, and they get you comfortable with your tactics that you're using. But have them at you at all times. Now, don't really share what you actually do, because when it gets around enough, the criminals are one step ahead of you. See? So you have to be really quiet about your information and quietly pass it along to those that you love. Okay? And let them be quiet about that too. Have a code about yourself. When you're spreading information, have a code. Because you know how they are. They're always learning your tactics so that they can get up on top of you again. You see? And one step ahead of you again. Well, we don't want it like that anymore. We don't want it where the criminals can be one step ahead. Where the tyrants can be one step ahead. And figure out a way to circumvent you. To wave the herd, to corral them. To be perfect prey for him. You see, for them, you see? You don't want that anymore. You want to be the ones that's prepared, have tactics. You're women. There's more of you than them. So, I know that she was out at night where there was not a lot of people around, but, in the day and in the times where there's other women around, they should all be fighting this person that's trying to take this one. It's like you're a bunch of chickens in a hen coop. Then and then here comes the weasel, and you're just the sitting duck. Don't be the sitting duck. Be the rabbit with the gun. Ciao.